Hey guys, so for this video, I'm gonna talk about how you can box fight like Misfits Clix. As I'm sure you all know, Clix is undeniably one of the best box fighters in the game. He's gone on insane wager win streaks, he's consistently placed at the top of every solo tournament, and he's even created many of the box fighting techniques we use today. That's why I went out and compiled a bunch of his best box fighting clips for us to analyze and learn from. Before we start though, I want to address the fact that yes, I am gonna use the face cam. Like I said in the last video, I want to try some new stuff out before the new season, so please let me know down below what you think. With that being said, let's get right on into it. For the first clip, we're joined on board with Clix as he's in the second round of a solo cash cup. He's got pretty good mats as you can see, a really solid loadout, and he's in the middle of the half and half zone. That's when a guy launch pads next to him, boxes up, and Clix decides to go and take his wall. He steals it with a heavy snipe, gets some nice shots off with his shotgun, and decides to spray with his AR. Unfortunately, Clix does not end up securing the kill as you can see here, but what I want to talk about is that edit. You can see when I slow it down, Clix is a full box away, but he's still heavy snipes, steals the guy's wall, and with his blueprints, edits the wall open. This is an edit Clix is pretty famous for, especially in his box fight wagers. All Clix is doing is editing his wall, breaking the wall in front of him, building it, which you can do from this range, and then with his blueprint out, which you can see I still am hovered over my wall, you can make that edit. The key, however, is that it has to be done with your blueprint out. Say I get it low, I take it, and then I switch to my shotgun. As you can see, I do not have an option to edit. Same thing goes for your pickaxe, so as you can see, if I press E, it says unable to edit the building. As to why this works, it comes down to the fact that you can edit from way farther away with your blueprint. I've told you guys to edit like this, especially for triple edits, so you can start from way farther down, but as we just saw from Clix, it's also extremely useful to do in real games. Here's yet another clip of Clix using it in game, this time in the FNCS Solo Invitational. He's again boxed up in the 5th zone with a heavy sniper, looking to make a play on his opponents and just scouting out the general area. That's when he sees his opponent is trying to pressure someone else, whips out the heavy sniper, steals the wall, goes for the blueprint edit we talked about, and gets a shot off. Clix follows that up with even more pressure, eventually stealing the guy's wall, gets in a nice cone slide and a shot, and finally finishes him off with some nice AR spray. So the takeaway is if you want to play fights really safely, do not just go up and try to pickaxe your opponent's wall. It is 10 times safer to be a full unit away, spray your opponent's wall, and then edit with your blueprint out to get a shot on them. Just do your best to remember, you have to edit with your blueprint out, because if you pull your shotgun or your pickaxe out, you're gonna stand there doing nothing. This next clip is also from the FNCS Solo Invitational, but this time Clix is getting pushed. Clix, being the smart box fighter that he is, decides to box up and make another box just in case he needs to move out. He then gets a cheeky shot off, edits out once again, and boxes up for more pressure. Following some more good pressure from his opponent, he decides to build the ramp in front of himself, flip it, and look for an edit shot, which does not go through, edit out one more time, and then box his opponent up, which he finishes with a Clix window peek. Easy kill. The first thing I'm going to point out, which is kind of the theme of this clip, is his movement. Notice as he goes and edits out one way, he edits out the original wall to look for a shot. Clix is constantly doing this in box fight wagers to fake out his opponents for easy shots. The thing is, I don't want you to focus just on that one move, I want you to focus on his movement and how it allows him to win fights and peaks like right here. As soon as he makes the edit, he ducks left and then comes back right, allowing his opponent to have no angle on him. And yes, I know this is something very basic that I've talked about before, but I really only see pro players like Clix do it well. Clix quite literally takes 0 damage in this fight, even though he makes a pretty suboptimal edit, all because he ducks to the left and gives himself a right hand peek. So the takeaway here is not the move Clix did at the start where he faked going out one way and then tried to edit back for a shot, although I do agree that looks pretty sick when done right. The takeaway is regardless of what edit you make, you always want to use your movement to optimize it. That means for top right corner edits, make the edit and duck down to the left below the wall, then jump up. For bottom right corner edits, the same thing applies, move to the left. And for any edit you make on the left, you always want to have your own build piece on the left of that. That way, whenever you make the edit, you can duck behind it and turn it into your own Clix right hand peek. Third clip is Clix hunting down another opponent in the solo FNCS Invitational. We see Clix doing the absolute best he can to try and steal this guy's cone. Unfortunately, even with 0 ping, it's not working. That's when the guy edits out, Clix gets a nice pre-fire on him, and then shoots through all his builds for the kill. I feel like this clip has a ton of good takeaways, including trying to get the cone through a nice right hand peek, but the main part I want to talk about is right here where Clix is thinking ahead and establishing piece control at the same time. You see how as soon as Clix realizes the guy's coming out the back, he builds a wall to block the shot and then follows that up with the cone and floor just in case he edits out that way. The only reason he did that is because he was thinking ahead, and as you can see, it ends up securing him the kill. My advice, which I of course learned from Clix, is rather than trying to establish piece control after this guy edits out, either by taking his wall or trying to take his cone, is to do what we just saw and do it before. I know this may seem like a waste of mats, especially if your opponent just stays in the box like this, but the thing is, once they edit out to either side, you already have all this piece control established. All you have to do is just edit open from the top, and your opponent who's down here will have no way to protect themselves. So if it has not been clear already, do not wait to establish piece control and for your enemy to edit out. Instead, establish that piece control as early as you possibly can. As Clix shows here, it will not always lead to the kill or for an opportunity for a shot, but it will lead to more pressure on your opponent and eventually help you win the box fight over them. Second to last clip is Clix yet again on the offensive. This time he's getting pushed in the middle of a solo cash cup. Like I pointed out before, we see Clix go into a 2x1 and wait for his opponent to drop down where he gets off a cheeky edit shot. He then edits out, gets off another shot, and after some nice piece control, wins the engagement. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this is one of those clips where Clix just makes everything look so freaking easy. From this 2x1 strategy, which I did talk about in my VOD review video on BL and NOS, to completely outplaying his opponent by guessing which side he would drop down on and going for an edit shot, to even having the insane reaction time to turn around after his wall gets taken and build out with a ramp above himself, and to be smart enough to build the floor, cone, and wall after going for a shot. That way he has piece control. There's really nothing Clix could have done better in that fight. He straight up played it perfect. My takeaway here is not to go into creative and to practice anything in specific. It's to straight up go into arena or into a tournament and just W key everyone. That's the only way you're gonna learn, and that's the only way you're gonna get as good as Clix. People tend to forget the only reason Clix is so good is because he's gotten into so many different box fights against so many different and good opponents. Nobody just wakes up as a box fighting god. Clix spends hours every single day doing box fight and realistic 1v1 wagers. More importantly though is the fact that he's actually learning from each fight and actively applying it to the next fight he gets into. You'll never find Clix making the same mistake twice or trying out an old outdated technique because he always knows the newest ones and when to apply them. So as helpful as it is to watch Clix and to watch videos like mine, you have to make sure you're applying everything you know and constantly practicing. Funnily enough, this is the reason why I'm such a great teacher, but not so much a pro player. So unless you want to be a little EVGA, make sure you're actually putting the time in and W keying everyone you see. For the final clip, we're joined on board again with Clix as he's W keying his opponent, this time in yet again the solo FNCS Invitational. Clix decides to break down through his own builds and pressure his opponent as he's on the bottom side of the map, gets a nice shot off through a cone slide, and after some protection, wins the fight. Why I'm pointing this out is not because of that nice cone slide or because of the wall he built, it's actually right here where he protects himself from a third party. If Clix did not do that, there's no way he would have been this aggressive and this confident going into the fight. Oh, and weird side note, but Clix actually combines a few of the tips I showed before by establishing piece control and protecting himself, which eventually does lead to the kill. Anyways, the reason I'm showing it is that I want you guys to be aware of how differently Clix plays in creative versus in actual games. I'm not saying Clix doesn't protect himself in creative, I'm just saying that he's able to adapt and completely change his playstyle based on what he's playing. Additionally, he's also able to identify which fights to take and which not to, which in creative is kind of hard since you want to fight everyone. The only reason Clix takes this fight is because he knows he's bunkered down in the bottom of Pleasant and that no one else can third party him. He can go as aggressive as he wants to, and he doesn't have to protect himself like he did in that other fight because no one else can get near him. So the takeaway here, which kind of goes along with the last one of gaining experience, is knowing when it's the right time to box up and to protect yourself versus knowing when you can run around like a madman and box fight without having any protection. Practice everything from having a wall between you and your opponent like we saw in the first clip, to having to fully protect yourself like we saw from Clix in case you get third partied. Either way, the more builds you put down, the more piece control you'll have, and the more likely you will be to win the fight. Overall guys, those are all the tips and tricks I have to box fight like Misfits Clix. I'm sorry if the video was a little all over the place. This is the first time I'm doing it off the dome and with a face cam. Still, to recap what I said, first, make sure you practice taking walls and editing with your blueprints out. Second, make sure you pay attention to your movement and always move to the left after edits. Third, make sure you're thinking ahead in fights and establishing piece control beforehand. Fourth, do your best to get into as many box fights as you can to improve. Fifth and finally, be able to adapt and identify when you can take fights and when you have to play protected. So if you guys enjoyed the video, do be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel down here, and to turn on post notifications. Shout out to everyone on the screen for using code GeForTheGame. I really do appreciate the support, and I need to make sure I shout all you guys out, so let me know if you do use my code or not. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.